Hello friends, and welcome to our cozy home. I'm Gina, and today's video, well, it's going to be just a little bit different. We are in the spooky season, and my mom and dad was up last weekend, so I recorded my dad telling two of my favorite stories he used to tell as kids when we were growing up. So I thought maybe you would like to listen to them. One's about UFOs and one's about Bigfoot. I hope you enjoy.
Back in late 70s or early 80s, I got a couple stories to tell, and they're true stories. I ain't gonna lie about neither one of them, and it really did happen. It was weird. First one is about a woman. She got up out of bed. She went to her kitchen sink to fix a baby bottle. The baby was crying. She's gonna get a bottle. It just breaking daylight, and she looked out the window by her sink there and seen some kind of big animal. Looks like a great big, I guess you would call it a Bigfoot. That's what everybody's calling them nowadays. And it just stepped over top of a 5-foot fence. Didn't climb the fence or nothing. It stepped right over top of it and just kept on going. And she got the news people out there, and they got 2 game wardens out there looking for it. And we had some friends on down the road that I worked with, and they invited us up for a cookout one evening. So we went up there for the cookout, and we finished everything up, and my wife and me, we come on home. Then as soon as we got home, his wife called my wife and said, "Got something to tell you you probably won't believe." And she said, "We's cleaning up outside," and said, "I went back in the house and it was about dark," and said, "My husband, he went out to smoke a cigarette or something, and all at once he heard something coming down over the hill there, breaking limbs off the small trees. And it was dark, and he told his wife to bring a flashlight out to him. So she did, and he walked up to that little building to see what was breaking the limbs down. And all at once he come face to face with a great big tall monster like a Bigfoot. And he said it was about a foot or 2 taller than he was. He was 6 foot tall. And it was a tall one. He said he had eyes real wide. Said he never seen such a head on something with wide eyes like that. Said they had an awful rank smell about it. Said he never smelled that smell before. He said it wasn't a bear or nothing like that, and he couldn't figure out what it was, but he was kind of getting scared. So he hollered at his wife, said, "Bring me the gun out here." So she brought him a gun. He backed up to the trailer where they lived at. He didn't turn his back on whatever it was. He backed up to the trailer and got the gun and went back up there with his flashlight, and it was gone. But they had a cave up over the hill there. Didn't know whether it come out of that cave or where it come from. But the way they talked, it was the same one that the woman seen when she was fixing a bottle for her baby. But like I say, game wardens come out there, try to find it, never could find it. So that's the story about the Bigfoot thing. And that's a true story. It really did happen. Now I got another story to tell you. Back in the mid-70s, that's when everybody was thinking there's a UFO flying around in the air. And it was on the news that they had UFOs flying around. Anyway, we lived down in Adams County, and we was over on the Bond Ridge cutting cedar logs for a lumber company from Zini, and me and my dad was. And we was cutting them cedar logs and everything, and we went home, and that night it was supposed to get real cold down below freezing, and our old tractor didn't have no antifreeze in it. So my dad said, "You better go back over and drain the radiator on that tractor so it wouldn't freeze up." So my wife's two brothers went with me, and we went up over the big hill there, but toward where we was cutting the logs. And all at once we went top that hill, and there was something out in the field to our right. It had a real bright light on the bottom of it, and it was in midair. It wasn't moving or nothing, and we stopped and we looked at it. Didn't know what it was, and we could hear a humming motor. It was humming. It wasn't real loud, but you could hear it was humming. And all at once it moved a little bit, and we moved. We started to go on. We didn't know what it was. We moved, and it would move too. And we would stop, and it would stop. We backed the pickup truck up, and it would come up like, beside of us. But all at once, it went straight up in the air and took off. We didn't know what it was. And my wife's mother, next day, she wanted to go over that night and see if she could see it. But it wasn't nowhere around. But that was a time that people was talking about the UFOs out in the sky, which we seen them before. And when we go to church on Wednesday night, we would see 3 lights up in the air going toward the church. It was after dark when we was coming home, and all at once them lights would go out. One light would go out and the other light would go out. We didn't know what it was, but it happened every Wednesday night after dark. So that's the story about the UFO, and it's a true story.
Thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you soon.